Children, the generation we're dealing with now, spend some of their formative years at home because of the pandemic. And so the kind of social interaction and peer interaction that we need kids to have to be able to form healthy interpersonal relationships, that aspect is missing from their lives. And now, these kids are back in school like normal, and we're seeing like a very substantial increase in rates of anxiety, depression, and behavioral problems. Almost always they don't have language or words to communicate what they're feeling, but they're very good at showing us. It'll usually come out in play, or they'll start acting out, and those would be the red flags that I would look out for. So if like a really hyperactive or extroverted child like suddenly starts wanting to be alone and wanting to not hang out with friends, bullying is a really, really huge issue these days. And a lot of the times, bullying is relational. Some of the signs for relational bullying, I think, are easy to either misinterpret, because a lot of parents, like I've heard them say things like, they're just learning how to fight with each other, they'll be fine. Under certain circumstances, that is true, like they will be fine. But making sure that that is actually what is happening, as opposed to like the kid being bullied. Kids going through puberty is another thing. Is it just, hormonal mood changes, as opposed to something's happening at school or outside? Drop in academic performance, and like a sudden drop in academic performance, that'd be another thing. When they see children, have struggles with inattention or hyperactivity, they're very quick to attach the ADHD label. Sometimes that is true, sometimes the kid truly does have ADHD, but most of the times, anxiety manifests as inattention in children. Depression and concentration have an inverse relationship. And so if you see your kid suddenly struggling with concentration, don't rush into calling that ADHD. I see a lot of parents who'll impose or project actually their experiences on the kid. So I'll hear parents say things like, well, the same thing happened to me when I was a kid. But your kid is a totally different person. Like, you are not your child. And giving that child like a box to fit into because that's what happened to you ends up doing a lot more damage than helping. Parenting style, I think it's the most important kind of factor that determines what kind of a relationship the parents are going to have with the kids. And so if a parent is more authoritarian, which is a lot of power, control, and coercion, that relationship is based on fear and punishment and punitive measures. And so I would encourage parents to move away from just doling out punishments without talking to the kid about what is actually happening. I also hear a lot of parents say that they worry if they talk about suicide or if they talk about these really big topics, that'll make the kid suicidal. That's actually the exact opposite of what usually happens, that they need that modeling when it comes to having conversations like that. That goes with like a more authoritative style. So authoritative parents they're strict, they have boundaries, they give the children very clear parameters for like what's okay and what's not okay. And they also have a lot of warmth in that relationship. There's like the sense of safety that you could come to me with anything under the sun. That is one of the biggest ways that you tell the child, like, I see you, I see you're not doing okay. How can you and I come up with a solution together? And communicating to the child that like what you're feeling makes sense. Like, you're not weird for feeling what you're feeling, and we can also do something about it. I also encourage parents to rely on their gut. And even if you have a little doubt, reach out to your family doctor. I get so many referrals from pediatricians. I would even have open lines of communication with teachers, because they see children a lot more than I think parents do these days. And so talking to them about do you think this is a concern? Parents do know their children the best. And so even if you start feeling a little uncomfortable about what your kid is going through or how your kid is behaving, don't sit on that. I think it'll be really important just to have a support system of adults where you can reach out and ask for help, so you feel less, alone and less overwhelmed with the problems that your child is having.